Hello and welcome back to the channel. For today's adventure, we are headed to Silver Spring State Park up near Ocala from obviously leaving our home on Sanibel. We are taking the Rivian R1S. We have the Casita Independence Deluxe behind us, and we have the Aventon Pace 500.3 e-bikes as well. The important thing about that is we are going to try to do a shuttle. We're going to try to do some kayaking, and rather than kayak all the way down the river and then have to come back upstream, we're going to use the Rivian and the e-bikes to do a shuttle where I'll drop a bike off at the far point, come back in the car, do our kayaking, then I'll have to ride the bike back to the parking lot to get the car and bring it back to the parking lot where we end. So that's the plan. We'll see how that works out. So come along with us.
Welcome back to E-Hermes, your electric adventure travel channel. Please remember to subscribe, hit the like button, and hit that bell button to be notified of our upcoming content.
We are leaving Sanibel Island with a 92% state of charge. We have one unrelated errand stop we have to make on the way. After that, we'll be heading to the Ellington Premium Outlets, where we will charge at either the Tesla Supercharger or the Electrify America, whichever I can get the trailer into easiest. No matter how much charge we had, that's why I didn't charge it all the way to 100%. We would have to stop anyhow. Probably even between 85 and 93 that I left at, we'd be fine. But since we do have that small errand to run that's a little bit off the route, I got it up to 93%. Here we go. As we know from our previous visits, the Ellington Premium Outlets have 16 Tesla Superchargers and 4 Electrify America DC fast chargers. We are using the one at the very end. The camper's a little bit out in the driveway, but it's a pretty remote area back here, remote corner of the property, so there's not much traffic. Hasn't been anybody by since I've been here. I'll stay with the vehicle, though I won't leave it when it's like this. Mrs. E-Hermes went for a walk. And we'll be here about a half hour, and then we'll be on our way to Silver Spring State Park Campground. Eagle Eye Mrs. E-Hermes noticed this truck that you may have seen when I panned around earlier has Alpatronic hyperchargers on them. It says the customer is Mercedes-Benz, so I'm wondering if that's some of those Mercedes-Benz chargers like you see at Buc-ee's. We'll have to see what develops here, and I do see they're working over here with Power Company. Pike Electric is a private company that does work for the utilities down here. So we could have even more options here in the future. We'll see. Since we stop at this charger almost every trip, both directions, because it's just the right distance from home, we'll keep an eye on the developments, see if there are going to be even additional chargers here. We got up to 82% state of charge. We are now headed to Silver Spring State Park Campground, which is a different entrance than the rest of the park. Here we go. We have arrived at Silver Spring State Park Campground. Our site is 41. It's called a buddy site. There's 2 sets of these in the campground, so if you have a small group, maybe 2 couples, you can both be separate but somewhat together. We don't know these other people at all, but they seem nice and quiet. We went way back there, turned the camper at a bit of an angle, so we have some privacy, and it's going to work out just great. So you see that our site really doesn't even start until back here. It's back here. It's really just a shared driveway if you think about it. As I say though, we tilt it a little bit so that we have a little more privacy. And when we say we got an electric site, we got an electric site. We're gonna get our $7 worth each night. We have the Rivian charging, only at 24 amps. I got it turned down, still be plenty by morning. Got the camper plugged in, got the e-bikes charging, and this other cord goes over by the grill for the electric grill and hot plate. So we got plenty of power and we're using it all.
The next morning, we decided to check out the springs and perhaps take a short kayak ride around the Fort King Paddle Trail Loop to get our feet wet. Unfortunately, the loop is still closed for some construction on Ross Allen Island, so we just did a quick out and back around the Head Springs area. We also checked out the buildings and walked around some of the paved trails in the Head Springs area.
Well, good morning. After yesterday's short out and back kayak trip, today we're going for the big enchilada. We're going to do the e-bike Rivian shuttle, all electric, and then we're going to kayak the full length of the river. I think it's 5.5 miles, someone said yesterday. Maybe 6, I don't know. It's right around there. And then we'll ride my bike back and get the car.
All right, so there we have the kayak loaded in the Rivian. I'm going to take the Aventon and ride it to the takeout spot. Mrs. E-Hermes is going to bring the Rivian and the kayak and pick me up. Then we'll both go back to the put-in spot, and then we'll ride down the river. And when we get there, I'll get back on my bike, go up to get the car, bring it back to the takeout spot, and load it back up, and then we should be all set. I have ridden to the takeout area park, Ray something or another, I can't think of the name of it. And Mrs. E-Hermes will be here shortly. We will go together in the car back to Silver Springs State Park main boat launch. We'll ride the boat down. I'll ride back up and get the car and come pick her in the boat up. So we put in back there at the public ramp. And now we're going to go under the famous pedestrian bridge to the boardwalk. That's what they're working on, that has the Fort King Paddle Trail closed that we weren't able to go on yesterday. We don't care about that today because we're going the full length of the Silver River today. Mrs. E-Hermes, as always, is doing an excellent job of paddling while I'm taking video. Good job. So many birds along the way. Cormorants, anahingos, and others. Haven't seen any monkeys yet though.
The water is so unbelievably crystal clear. You can see all the seagrasses, you can see fish, anything under the surface you can see. It is really difficult to gauge how deep the water is. I do know in some places it's up to 20 feet deep and you can still see the bottom. I think we're only in about 8 to 10 feet of water here.
Without putting the phone under the water, if she stops paddling, you see how clear the water is. It's probably 20 feet deep. Lots of cypress trees along the way. Here we see a turtle swimming along. I wonder what else we might find swimming with us in the water. Sometimes they're in the water, sometimes they're sitting on a log on the riverbank. Not sure if you can see it on the camera, but you can see where the water kind of boils up from the springs all along the way. The lighter areas where there's no grass, that's where the water's coming from. Scanning the trees, we are looking for monkeys, but have not seen any yet. There are definitely monkeys in this part of the park. They were brought here years ago when it was a private park, and now they're protected here. Hey buddy, you're not looking to eat us, are you? I sure hope not. Oh, there you go. You're swimming upstream. He's a big one.
and seems to have his eye on us. This one appears a little bit less interested in us than the last one.
Don't eat me.
Oh, now that we're halfway through, now they tell us.
So the trail is 5.4 miles long one way. At the 2-mile mark, they have a pull-out. I think it's the campground put in, actually, which is still a half mile from the campground, which is why we didn't use it. But they have a porta potty there. Mrs. E-Hermes is very happy.
It's pretty nasty.
It's pretty nasty?
Pretty nasty.
Better than nothing?
Better than nothing, but pretty nasty.
Now this cute little fellow doesn't look so scary.
It's not like the springs start off at the beginning and then you're just going down the river. It's called Silver Springs because there are any number of springs feeding the river as you go. Continues all the way down till it ties into the other river. Maybe even beyond that. We're just not going there.
We've shown you some of the birds and turtles and other animals we've seen along the way. Here are some of the fishes.
Not just kayaks and stand-up paddleboards back here. We have all kinds of boats, jet skis, tour boats. It's supposed to be a no-wake zone. Some of the boaters seem to follow that, some not as much. Not sure what's going on here, but they definitely don't want you back there. So we will stay away from it. I don't know if it's that special kind of lily pad growing there. Be my guess. It's the only thing that looks different to me.
There are just so many birds and turtles that I could not possibly show all of them to you.
The name of the park is Ray Wayside Park. And we have regrettably made it to the end. Did not see any monkeys. Saw lots of turtles, birds, and alligators. You could do this shuttle with regular bikes, certainly, but as narrow as the shoulder is, and as much traffic as there is, including truck traffic, I was happy to be able to hold my thumb down and go 20 miles an hour without wobbling.
Good morning again. Today on our final day at Silver Springs State Park, we're heading back to the main Springhead area to take the traditional glass-bottom boat tour. This provides the best underwater viewing, particularly in the head spring area. The tour is available as a 30-minute or 90-minute tour, but the 90-minute tour sells out quickly, so we settled for the 30-minute tour, which covers most of the principal areas.
So here we are at the glass bottom boat tours. We had a first today, Mrs. E-Hermes. The first time we were both given senior discounts. How do you feel about that? I'd rather not. I'd rather pay the extra couple dollars.
Right.
One of the ways that they keep the water so perfectly clear is the boats they use for the glass bottom boats are now all electric. E-Hermes certainly approves. No gasoline, diesel fuel, oil, or hydraulic fluid in the water.
Now we are going to be traveling on the world famous Silver River today. The Silver River has over 100 springs, and out of those springs it produces over 850 million gallons of water a day.
While there may be over 100 springs along the length of the river, by far the most volume of water comes out of the head spring area. Here you can really see it coming out from under the rocks. Many movies and television shows have been filmed in this area. You can see here there are still some props left over from the 1960s TV show I Spy.
Well, today's a sad day because it's go home day. We spent 5 days, 4 nights at this campground, and all we ran out of this morning at the very last minute was the fresh water. The gray water tank held up good. The black water tank we had plenty in. We each took 2 showers at least over those 4 nights. So we're pretty happy with how things, how the tanks work on the Casita. One of the reasons we bought that one, actually for as small as the trailer as it is, it has some of the bigger tanks. We are leaving with a 96% state of charge. We will stop at the one charger at Ellington Premium Outlets, same as when we came up here. A little bit different though on the way home. I'm at least till we get to there, I'm going to stay off the highway and we're going to go down Route 301 all the way here from Ocala to Ellington. And then after we charge, we may get back on the highway. We'll see what time of the day it is. But that's the plan, one charging stop and we'll be home. We did it. We stayed off the interstate and went 133 miles from Ocala here to Ellington Premium Outlets, where we're going to charge again before we head home. It was fine, a lot of traffic lights, and it took, to go that 133 miles took almost 4 hours. But the good news is we averaged almost 1.9 miles per kilowatt hour. So it's very efficient because we're going slower. I don't know if I'd do it again, but I don't regret doing it once. And look at this, look at this. The end stall is available. I think I can get to it. I think I can, I think I can. No. The gentleman in that Tesla moved out of the way as soon as I got here. I don't know if I could have or not gotten to it, but it was literally less than a minute and he was done and off he went. So here we are, we're at Station 1. We're gonna charge up, then head back to Sanibel. And just like that, as quick as Mrs. E-Hermes made me 2 bacon, lettuce, tomato sandwiches back in the casita, I had a chance to eat them. She ate her lunch, we both went to the restroom, and it was up to 80% in less than half an hour. So we wasted no time, we just ate lunch. This will be the last stretch now. I did program in going back to Sanibel, staying off the highway, so we'll see how that goes in this leg. Of the 252 miles that we drove today from Silver Spring State Park to Sanibel Island, not 1 inch was driven on an interstate highway. We stayed strictly on secondary roads. That did cost us quite a bit of time. It took us almost 8 hours to go those 252 miles, including the half-hour charging stop. Probably added 2 hours to the trip, but we avoided the soul-crushing experience of driving on Interstate 75. We certainly hope that you enjoyed this look at our all-electric camping trip and visit to Silver Spring State Park. If you did, please hit the like button. As always, please subscribe, and please hit that bell button to be notified of our upcoming content. Thank you!